Hey guys, what up? It's Magic Game Day once again. Jake Chapman, Chrissy Birdsall here with you, and the Magic looking for 6 straight dubs tonight with the Washington Wizards in. It was a fun, enjoyable, and nail-biting type of affair last night against the Cleveland Cavaliers. 128-122, the final score. Those Cavs just kept coming, and the Magic just kept answering the phone. Every time it was ringing, it was Tristan da Silva late. It was Desmond Bane late. It was Paolo Banchero all night long. You got a 12 of 19 from the field performance from Desmond Bane. He was 9 of 10 at the free throw line. Magic shot 37 free throws last night against the Cavaliers and able to hold off James Harden. Thought we did a fantastic job with Donovan Mitchell. He was 9 of 24 and 4 of 13 from three-point range, had 25 points. Harden got his 30. But the Magic get their first win of the season against the Cavaliers, their 5th straight win, and now second half of a back-to-back. We got all these back-to-backs coming up here in the final month of the season. Can you take care of business against the Washington Wizards team that has lost 9 in a row? You've beaten them 12 out of 13 times. They gave up 159 points or something like that the other night, 83 to Bam Adebayo, a record-breaking performance and a record-breaking defensive lack of performance from this Washington team. So kind of a trap game. I know you're a little bit nervous about it.
I am a little bit nervous.
Which I think the coach is strong in you, young one. If you're Jamal Mosley and the coaching staff, for sure, like you got to come out and take care of business tonight. You will sort of dash the momentum that you've been building up if you lose to a Washington team that has very little interest in winning. They're 16-48 on the season, and they are focused on lottery odds. And the Magic would pick up their 3rd win in 4 tries against this Washington team. They did beat you in January in Washington, but the last time we saw them, the Magic able to take care of business in that game. Another game where the Magic, I believe, shot 37 free throws that night,
right.
Believe it or not. So we might be in for that again here this evening, especially if what they did to Bam Adebayo the other night is any indication. He shot over 40 free throws in that game. But a very, very encouraging performance last night. It feels like we're building at the right time, and as we approach these final 18 games, Chrissy, you do so. Wake up this morning, the 5 seed in the Eastern Conference.
Woo.
You're 3 games behind Cleveland for that 4 seed, and you do have one more matchup against the Cavs. If you could get that one, obviously that would be a full game that you close the gap between them, but then also that would even the season series and throw things up to the tiebreakers, etc. So we'll cross that bridge when we get there. We got to worry about the Washington Wizards here tonight, but before we do that, let's look back last night at probably the win of the season. I don't know. Minnesota felt like the win of the season out on the road. That felt like the win of the season here at home last night. A tough dub against the Cavs where you just executed down the stretch, and we should have known. The Magic have done that all season long.
Yeah, it was definitely one of the better wins of the season. You mentioned that streak. There was a lot riding into it. You had those 2 great games on the road. You come back to the Kia Center. The Kia Center was popping last night.
Yes,
Can we
it
talk
was.
about that for first of all? I think that was probably one of the most energetic crowds that I've seen, at least since the All-Star break, but probably one of the best crowds we've had all season long. And I think that helped a lot, too, with this team's momentum. You think about somebody like Jalen Suggs, who rides a lot of that momentum.
Yes.
He had a couple of big threes. He had that big one down the stretch, helped the team stay in front. Desmond Bane, you talked about, had a really good game. He has come alive since the All-Star break. And just feels like every game he's getting a little bit more comfortable with the rotations, getting a little bit more comfortable with the sets, and he's being a little bit more comfortable in himself. Paolo Banchero had himself another solid performance. Tristan da Silva, we talked about him yesterday, and just what he's been doing the last couple of games since sliding back into the starting lineup for Anthony Black, and he played really good. He hit those 2 big threes down the stretch. Those were, that Desmond Bane 3 was incredible, but you're not going to get that backbreak 3 if you don't have the ones from Tristan da Silva 2 plays before that.
Yep.
He finished with 23 points, 8 of 13 from the field, was also getting some good stuff on defense as well. It felt like a good all-around performance. I feel like everybody who came on the court were making the plays. I know Desmond Bane said that after, that they're playing a fun brand of basketball right now because everybody is locked in on the goals.
Yeah, and I think you're getting bench production enough. Like Jet Howard, I think it's 3 straight games that he's contributed. Javon Carter is doing his thing as well. I don't think this is going to be until we get healthy and Anthony Black is part of the bench unit and Tristan da Silva as well. I'm not sure if you're going to necessarily see, 50-point bench scoring nights frequently, and you might get outscored by the opponent bench frequently. But that's more a function of how much of the scoring load is being handled by your starters. Paolo and Desmond Bane averaging up over 50 points a game since the All-Star break. Des, you mentioned last 15 games for Desmond Bane, over 25 points per game. He's shooting 57% from the field and 46.5% from three-point range, averaging 1.5 steals over that span as well. He has 6 of his last 12 games. He's scored 30 points or more. And the thing with Dez is you see it like night to night. Like last night, he hit that huge clutch three, which was, probably the most important shot of the game. What was it? 18 seconds left, pushed the lead from 2 to 5. But he only took 3 threes last night. He was 2 of 3 from three-point range. They were able to take that away. So what does he do? He attacks to the tune of 12 of 19 shooting. So do the quick math there. He was 10 of 16 on 2-pointers last night. And then he was another 9 of 10 at the free throw line, 6 boards, 6 assists, and 1 steal. I mean, he is playing all-star caliber basketball, both he and Paolo Banchero at the forefront of all of this. I'm not sure what else you can say about him, but I will say this. The clutch performances probably should have been our first indicator over the course of the season as we were winning 2, losing 1. You couldn't build a winning streak, but you couldn't you didn't build a losing streak either. You were just sort of floating along for about 2 straight months after the Franz Wagner injury. But you were showing signs that you were going to be able to break out of it in a big way. It is not lost on me that the Magic have won 17 games this year when they've been down by 10 or more points. That's most in the league. And then you talk about the clutch performances, what they're able to do in the fourth quarter period, where Desmond Bane is one of the best fourth quarter scorers in the league. He's one of the best clutch assist men in the league. And you talk about a 21-11 record in clutch situations, games within 5 points in the last 5 minutes. That is, when you're 21-11 in those situations, several good teams are around 500 in those situations. You're talking about basically a toss-up. How do you execute in the last 5 minutes of a tight game? The Magic have been building towards this all season long. They're now 15-15 out on the road. These are all signs of good teams, and I think they were all indicators that the Magic maybe were a little bit better than their record indicated. And so I think we should have probably expected a bit of a bust out like this at some point. And luckily, it's happening now.
Yeah, I think some of the health reasons have to do with that.
Sure.
Just the way some of these teams are when you come in. You might be playing a team that's a little bit hot at certain times, but now it's the Magic's turn to get rolling. And you talked about Desmond Bane, what he's been able to do in the clutch. I was just pulling up a stat from the Orlando Magic. He was the 3rd different player in Magic history, 35 points, 5 assists, 0 turnovers. Joins Tracy McGrady and Shaquille O'Neal. So good company for Desmond Bane, and we talked about him just getting a little bit more comfortable with this team. Those 2-point shots actually was really interesting because I think one of the media members asked Coach Mosley about that yesterday because it felt like, yes, Cleveland did shut down that 3-point shot. That's been the emphasis of a lot of teams, especially with somebody like Desmond Bane. Everybody knows why we brought in Desmond Bane at the beginning of the season was to be that 3-point shooter. So their game plan against him was take away that 3-point shot. He's gotten a lot more comfortable downhill. Those scoop shots have always been his kind of bread and butter when he gets down into the paint. And Jamal Mosley said that this team's not going to force it. They're not going to force those threes. If they're trying to take away the 3, okay, then we'll go inside, dominate in the paint, get those paint points, get those middies, and then that's going to be an issue, and then they go out on the 3 and try and get those as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think with Desmond Bane, he's, you hear Coach Mosley talk about Paolo doing this a lot, just sort of taking what the defense gives you.
Right.
At the beginning of the season, like you mentioned, they were top-locking him, which was basically they weren't letting him get catch-and-shoot opportunities. And so, as you said, he turned that into a strength, and he turned into a much better downhill attacker. And I think the free throw numbers bear that out. I mentioned last week he's already attempted more free throws than he ever has in any other career season in his career. The guy's a career 89% free throw shooter. Getting Desmond Bane to the free throw line is a good thing. And so I know people were clamoring at the beginning of the season for more three-point attempts for him. But as you mentioned, teams have defended him very similarly to the way the Cavs did last night. And he still got 35.
Right. Twice
this season, he has scored 30-plus points without making a three-pointer altogether. And so figuring out ways to attack on 3 different levels, that's why Jamal Mosley says point blank, that guy's a winner. He's seen it all. And, yeah, it took him a little bit of time to settle in. I think that did have to do with the injuries a little bit. But he has settled in. And that guy, boy, he'll get under your skin. He's got some dog to him, obviously. But in big moments, he rises to the occasion. And we got a couple guys like that. Franz Wagner, there's a reason we branded him fourth quarter Franz here on the network. And so when he gets back, we know how he executes down the stretch. And right now, Paolo Banchero, it just feels like everything is coming easier and easier to him. He's been an MVP candidate basically since New Year's, putting up numbers that only Jokic, Jaylen Brown, and Giannis are putting up. And so it's all coming together right now. And we talked yesterday about how, the defense sort of fuels everything, but the offense is figuring things out right now. And that's exactly what we're talking about, figuring out ways to react as the game goes, to attack in different ways. Paolo in the post, Paolo from the mid-range, Paolo creating for his teammates, Dez attacking from all three levels, and then you're getting guys knocking down shots in the perimeter right now as well. It also helps offensively that Jalen and Javon Carter are filling kind of a point guard role, distributing, getting other guys involved. Everybody is sort of settled into their roles right now, and you can't forget Tristan da Silva, as you mentioned. He's now at 39% three-point shooting for the year, 23 points last night, 3 of 8 from three-point range, and 2 of the biggest shots of the game in the fourth quarter. We had a whole bunch of post-game sound last night. Do you have anything in Chrissy's quote book that you would like to bring up to the assembled crowd here on the stream?
I was taking a little bit of a look back of what teams were saying. I think, even going back to some of the games in that win streak. And the biggest takeaway that I got from last night, we heard it a little bit in the pregame too, is just how much fun this team is having. I remember Coach Mosley saying during this pregame show in his press conference that this team thrives off of playing with joy, and that's just something, maybe a mark of a younger team, but this team in particular really feeds off of that. And Bain said after the game that they're playing a fun brand of basketball. They've been enjoying it. Tristan da Silva said he couldn't pinpoint the exact moment that this happened, but since the All-Star break, I think that was a big breath of fresh air for this team. They've come back with a renewed mindset, and they've been playing a lot better down the stretch.
Yeah,
I think that joy is important.
You're right, because obviously winning is fun, and so you can sort of hindsight it and be like, well, yeah, they've won 5 in a row, and they've also won 11 of 15, which I think the improved brand of basketball goes beyond just the winning streak. It's been trending this way, going on a couple weeks. I don't think there was any one moment, but I do think that road trip where you got smacked by San Antonio and Oklahoma City, and then you had 4 games at home heading into the break, I think that sort of, I don't want to say it was rock bottom because those two teams do that to a lot of teams, but we got embarrassed out on the road. And at the very least, you were like, we know we can compete with those guys. They're good basketball teams, but we're not so far off of their level. You started to build a little bit in those 4 games at home before the All-Star break. I think it was kind of a gut punch, that Milwaukee game that you lost before the break. But I'll tell you what, we went out west, and it felt like you started building. You lost that Phoenix game, but, a very successful weekend in Los Angeles, and it's been kind of an upward trajectory from here. Have you looked at where the schedule goes real quick before we go down to Jamal Mosley for the Magic after you get the Wizards here tonight? Because when you look at the standings, and I wanted to mention that, by the way, just do a quick update here. The Magic 5 seed right now, 3 games behind Cleveland. You're only 4.5 behind the New York Knicks, by the way, for the 3 seed. So that is, I guess, within the realm of possibility. But then the entire Southeast Division, we mentioned this yesterday, is playing some of the best basketball in the entire league. Miami is even with us win percentage-wise. We own, of course, the season series with them, so they're in the 6th seed. Then you got Toronto and Philadelphia in the 7 and 8, Atlanta and Charlotte in the 9 and 10. Atlanta's won 7 straight games. Charlotte has won like 18 of 23, I think. They're one of the hottest teams in the league. The entire Southeast Division is surging right now, and the Magic in the 5 seed, still only 3.5 games clear of Charlotte in the 10 seed. So still a whole bunch of work to be done. Every single game is going to be absolutely monumental here in the final calendar month of the season. Literally 1 month from today, we'll be wrapping up the regular season. But after this game here tonight, this is one of the reasons that you absolutely must get this one. You go to Miami and to Atlanta, massive games as far as the playoff standings in the play-in tournament go. And then you come home for Oklahoma City, at Charlotte, and home for the Lakers. So a 5-game stretch that is going to be very, very difficult coming up after this one with the Washington Wizards. All the more reason that you absolutely must get this one here tonight. And, Chrissy, you said before we hopped on the stream, we're listening here for Jamal Mosley. We'll toss you down to him as soon as he addresses the media. that this game makes you a little bit nervous. I saw a whole bunch of, I'm low-key nervous about this game. The comments flooding in. Everybody kind of agrees with you. I get it. This is how I felt in Milwaukee on Sunday.
Right.
You had that win against Minnesota. If you lose this game, then it feels like all of that is for naught. It'll be a distant memory, the win over the Cavs last night. So, yeah, you got to back it up here today.
Yeah, I think the issue is that you're coming off this back-to-back. You're on the second night of the back-to-back. Now, the Magic have been this season pretty good on those second night of the back-to-backs. I will get that stat for you in just a moment, probably after Coach Jamal Mosley speaks. But then you think about the next two games coming up. You're at Miami. You're at Atlanta. You talked about two teams playing very hot down the stretch, both of them 8-2 in their last 10. Those are both on the road, so you're thinking about that travel schedule coming up. And then you're playing this Washington Wizards team. You mentioned it. Lost 9 straight games. Had that blowout against Miami. Thank you, Jake. They're 7-2 on the second game of a back-to-back. So you feel good about that, but just you think about all these factors that come in. I think Washington's going to want to wash off the stink of that last game against Miami, of everything that happened. We'll talk about that after Coach Jamal Mosley speaks. But that's the thing. That's the only thing that worries me about this is this team has been playing so good. You can't overlook any opponent. And they talked about it in the Milwaukee game, I believe. Was it Jet Howard that said that after? Of just respecting your opponents after the game and just not overlooking.
Well,
anybody.
and even going back to the last time we saw Washington, remember
Right,
that was what Goga told us was the word on the blackboard in the locker room at halftime was respect. I don't remember. I think it was like a 3-point game or something like that at halftime, and then you came out and took care of business in the second half. But that is going to be exactly what the Magic are hoping to accomplish coming up here. You're going to have to take care of business against this Washington team, to be sure. All right, I don't think we have Coach Mosley yet. Either that or I've got a screwy feed going on here. Nope, that's home effects. We'll go down to Coach Mosley here in a moment. You can understand. Everybody's backed up today. We sort of did a wing it stream. We were like, all right, we've got all of our prep here. But, second night of a back-to-back. I think Coach Mosley's probably cramming for the game plan down there. And if I'm Coach Mosley, I'm saying let the media wait.
Yeah, so much has been one game at a time that he's been saying. So you think yesterday all of that focus was on Cleveland.
100%.
You're in the game. It's focused on Cleveland. Okay, the Cleveland game ends. You get to celebrate that till midnight, and then you wake up the next morning. And, yeah, I'm curious how much prep they've had ahead of this Washington game. It does help that you did play this team 9 days ago. I think that factors in a little bit if you have that coming in, that, okay, you've seen most of these guys play in that last game.
For sure. Oh, here we go.
Coach Mosley there.
Coach Mosley.
Coach, this Wizards team's looked a little bit different every time you've played them, but what are some of the staples that remain the same regardless, and what are some of the keys for your group tonight other than perhaps having Paolo go for like 85?
No, I mean, that would be nice. But the ability to keep the ball in front of us, they do a great job of getting downhill, attacking the basket, but also spraying out for three-point shooters. We've got to make sure we protect the paint, and we've got to get to three-point shooters tonight. It's going to be a big key for us.
I mean, for you guys, it's the second night of a back-to-back. I don't know how they're going to come out, given that they did give up 83 last game, but what do you expect from that side?
I mean, I do expect them to come out and play hard, and, because they've been hearing it for the past couple days. About, Bam going for, the big numbers. And so, nobody wants to sit in that. And they're a team with pride, and they got a great coach over there that understands exactly how to get them motivated. So I think we're going to see a very determined, focused basketball team that obviously they've beaten us once. And so they know they're capable of doing it. So we've got to just make sure we're focusing on us and the things that we need to do.
Jamal, it seems like Trae Young already in his limited minutes for them has helped create open shots. What are you seeing in that regard as you're studying the film to prepare for this game?
Just what you said. I think he's creating openings in transition. They run a ton of double drags for him where they have Sarr as a roller, and it creates a problem. So you've got to decide to tag or not, and they've got shooting all around him. So he's finding those open guys as soon as he penetrates and get in the lane, and then they do a great job of spacing the floor the right way. But because of his speed, his ability to shoot the ball and create, you got to help on him and keep eyes on him. But he's doing a phenomenal job of finding guys outside of that.
Coach Pella had the interview where he spoke about, the team looking at themselves in the mirror at the All-Star break to just kind of see where things are not going right and how to fix it. And we saw Dez and Tristan last night kind of echo those same things. How much has Paolo, been becoming a leader in this point, and how much is the group rallying around him as kind of the guy that's leading this group?
Well, I've said it before. We talked about right after the All-Star break the mindset shift of being able to take on the top players in the league, and I think I say it over and over again that changes the dynamic of your team. Your best player is taking on all challenges, and he's taking on all opponents of great stature, great All-Stars, and he's doing that, and that's been big for us. And sat down last night guarding James Harden, switching on to Mitchell the nights before guarding LeBron, guarding Luka. That's big. And so for us as a team, knowing we're a defensive-minded team, his ability to guard multiple players and take those challenges on is huge for this group.
I think this season you guys are 8-3, 9-3 on the second night of back-to-backs, and it may just be a statistical quirk. But what does that say about this team that with the odds maybe against you, or a reason to have an excuse that they seem to play well in these types of moments or these types of games?
Yeah, I think each team is, we're all faced with back-to-backs throughout the year, and I think our guys understand it's not going to get any easier, and we've got a ton more coming up, and it's just continue the theme of taking it one game at a time. So, last night is over, and we've got the Washington Wizards coming in here tonight, and I think that's a big key for us more than anything, is not to rely on what we did last night, whether we win or lose, and focus on the game in front of us.
All right.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
All right, there he is, Jamal Mosley. Welcome back, Jake Chapman, Chrissy Birdsall. We're up here on the radio deck getting set for the second night of a back-to-back. Fourth matchup with the Washington Wizards this season. I believe so, right? The fourth matchup? Yeah, that's right. And we will tip it up at 7 o'clock. We'll have the pregame for you at 6:30. Our flagship station tonight going to be FM 104.5. So if you want to listen to us the old-fashioned way on the radio, it's 104.5 FM. You can always stream us on the Orlando Magic app, the iHeartRadio app, outside of the listening area, outside of Central Florida. Check us out on NBA League Pass Audio or on Sirius XM. Talking a little bit about Trae Young there. Didn't see him, obviously, last time. He's only played 2 games for the Wizards and right about 18, 19 minutes a night while he's been out there, but he's still Trae Young, and he's still the guy who averages over 26 points per game in his career against us, over 8 assists. And let me just say this real fast, and then we'll dive in a little bit into some X's and O's before we get out of here. I really appreciate the way that he has comported himself after arriving in Washington. Yeah, as opposed to the way that Anthony Davis is like, I don't want to be here, and I'm just going to mope around and not play the rest of the year. He's signed up for it. And granted, he forced his way out of Atlanta and sort of telegraphed his way to Washington, so that had part to do with it. But I kind of like that Trae Young, A, is not taking the rest of the season off. He's going to play. He's going to probably make sure he doesn't play for very long minutes at too high of a intensity level, let's just say. But you can tell it means something to him, the fact that he's going to try to go out there and forge a little chemistry in these remaining 17, 18 games for them. I think that's the way, if you want to be the leader of a franchise, you should do it. And I think the contrast is pretty stark when you look at the other guy that they traded for at the deadline. As far as how tonight is impacted, I don't know. He's still Trae Young, but they just don't really have – they're not really building anything right now. So it feels like it's going to be a bunch of double drags, like Jamal Mosley said, some simple pick and roll, and just kind of a pickup game as far as Washington goes. But anytime you got an all-star caliber player and a guy who loves when the odds are stacked against him and he's out on the road playing villain, you got to watch out for that guy no matter what.
Yeah, I love that. Actually, we were just showing some highlights of Trae Young in his last game against New Orleans the other day. You mentioned 2 games played of the 4 possible, averaging about just under 15 points per game, and those minutes being a little bit limited, about 18 and a half over those 2. But it's been a minute since the Magic have seen them. I was going back all the way back into the 2nd or 3rd game of the season. It was a long, long time ago.
Yeah.
I was very, very young in my season here with you guys. Right. It was the 2nd game of the season that lost, the 111-107 loss to the Atlanta Hawks here at the Kia Center, where he played 34 minutes, had 25 points, 7 of 18 from the field. You mentioned that historically he's done pretty well against the Magic, now having to do that with the Washington Wizards and not the Atlanta Hawks. It should be interesting because I said that last time on the 3rd because he made his debut just a few days after that when they were back in Washington. I said I felt like maybe he was dodging us, the ghost of the Kia Center. But he's back for however many minutes that he's going to play, and one thing you know you're going to get from him is some offense.
Yeah, his individual numbers against us are fantastic, and there's been some team failures for them, especially if you go back to last year the end of the season, then the play-in when he was in Atlanta, and perhaps that's part of the reason that he's no longer in Atlanta. We don't want to speculate about that. But the bottom line is he is a stud. And they do have some guys who can play. Will Riley's been playing very well of late. This is where we get into the very boring aspects of the game preview. Let's talk about Will Riley and Bilal Coulibaly. No, Washington they're going to try to junk the game up. They're going to try to turn it into a G League game. They're going to jack a whole bunch of threes. What I'm hoping for, I mean, look, if it's a close game, then yes, will be a good development. I'm hoping they don't just foul us all night.
Right.
Because that breaks the rhythm of the game. This is maybe a radio play-by-play guy complaint, and maybe it's good for us long-term if they do put us on the free throw line all night and you get 30 free points or something like that. But it really disrupts the rhythm of the game. I would have lost my mind if I was the Washington Wizards play-by-play guy, Dave Johnson, the other night, calling that game and watching what Miami did and watching that game get prolonged. And then, yes, like the Heat were intentionally following the Wizards in order to generate more possessions. But the fact that the Wizards put Bam on the free throw line 43 times, like, that has to be so frustrating to watch. Just get out of his way. Just don't touch him. Yeah. You're much better off just giving him a freaking layup than the and ones and putting him on the free throw line over and over again. And to be honest, like, that's what they did with us the last time we saw these guys, is they just, they don't really care. And so they just kind of don't move their feet and smack down at the ball, and you end up with 37 free throw attempts. So hopefully for the rhythm of the game and for the vibe of the broadcast tonight, we don't have quite that extreme of a performance.
Yeah, the last two times at least I've checked in on Washington, it felt more like a Elks free throw shooting contest. I don't know if that's a really specific reference to something that I did as a kid in New Jersey.
It is, yeah. Elks
hoop shoot? Yeah. I don't know. That's just me, though. But, yes, 37 times.
Maybe one or two people out there got the reference.
If anybody gets that reference,
anybody got the reference, it was worth it.
Please put it in the comments.
Put it in the chat.
Because I need to feel validated on that for the couple of years that I was shooting free throws in my very, very long and illustrious basketball career that we won't get into.
Is that at the Elk Lodge?
Yeah, it was the Elks Lodge.
Okay.
It was the Elks Lodge. But, yes, Washington, 37 free throws.
More of a moose type of guy. I have no idea how those work, to be honest with you. Well, we've gone way off the rails.
My apologies. But you're talking about the free throw shooting. Yes. That was 37 free throw attempts. They made 32 of them. And it felt like, I remember that first half that the rhythm was a little bit disrupted. And it kind of caused that slow down 3-point game that the Magic were able to get going in the second half. But
right.
I was looking back on the box score and just looking at the quarter stats. And you can tell when Paolo Banchero gets going or Desmond Bane gets going, they're going to play the hot hand. Those two guys have been playing really well down the stretch. We'll see how much Tristan Da Silva gets involved. Jet Howard had a really good fourth quarter or two. He's been playing extremely well down the stretch for this team, and I think he needs to get a little bit more credit. You are able to talk to him this weekend on the Courtside exclusive of just how good he's been playing to stay in the rotation, but he's been doing a little bit of everything. I think that defense has jumped up a little bit. We saw that against Washington, and he's been continuing that through this win streak as well.
Yeah, it's we're just trying to build here. That's all we're getting at as far as Jet goes. We know the jumper's going to be there. We know what he can do offensively. If every game he steps on the floor, he's a little bit better defensively, he's a little less physical, overly physical, then we're moving in the right direction. And that's what Jet needs to do, and he's, I think, performed very well. Real quick before we go, so who's more likely to go for 85 tonight, Paolo or Desmond Bane?
Paolo. I think Paolo Banchero just has the
Don't
tendency.
You think you need like 10 threes?
But I think that he just takes over games. And we saw that against Washington last week where it was kind of slowing down a little bit. I want to say it was that third quarter that Paolo Banchero, I'm looking at it right now, 5 of 8 in the third quarter, 13 points. And he was doing everything on the floor, driving in, getting those buckets. He had a couple of assists, 3 I'm seeing as well, 3 rebounds. I think that, yes, if there was somebody that was going to pop off for a huge scoring total like that, it would be Paolo.
I'm going with Dez because if Dez, let's say Dez went 10 for 12 from 3-point range, 16 for 16 at the free throw line, do the math, 46 points.
Yeah.
And then you just need, another 20 scoopers, and you're at 86 points.
I know
that
no matter
seems easy.
what.
25 for 30 from the field, or no, 30 for 40 from the field. Come on, we can get there.
I mean, you have to see. I feel like after that game on Tuesday, though, Washington definitely.
Here's what I guarantee you. And we'll leave you guys with this. if the Magic are up 25 points midway through the fourth quarter tonight, neither Paolo Macaro nor Desmond
absolutely
Bane
not.
will be on the floor because we've got bigger fish to fry. We have long-term goals that we are trying to address, and that's the extent of my subtweeting of Eric Spoelstra and Bam Adebayo and Heat Culture. We'll see you guys on Saturday. She's Chrissy. I'm Jake. We appreciate y'all for tuning in. Magic and the Wizards coming up. Pregame show at 6:30, FM 104.5. We will have you streaming on the Orlando Magic app, the iHeartRadio app as well, outside of the listening area on Sirius XM or on NBA League Pass Audio. Send you down to the floor for now, and we'll talk to you guys next week. Go Magic.
Stuff is on the back. Feel free to take your time and
Okay.
get you to Josh as quick as possible.
Yeah.
And then
Thanks, Doc. I love you. Alrighty, thank you, Jake and Chrissy. Welcome to the second hour of Magic Game Day. I am Marley Arnold, and I'm so excited to be here with you guys today. Tonight, your Orlando Magic face the Washington Wizards, and you can catch all the action tonight on FanDuel, starting with their pregame at 6:30 p.m. So this is the second night of a back-to-back game, and if you didn't watch last night's game, you missed out on some pretty amazing magic. The Magic beat the Cleveland Cavs 128-122. And of course, Desmond Bane sealed the game with a three, 17.4 seconds left to help get that W, which is insane. The energy in here is already insane, and the energy last night was incredible. The team definitely fed off of that momentum down to the stretch. So who was here for that game? What'd you have to think about it? Let me know in the comments. But guys, look where I am. I'm in my favorite place, like always. We all know this. I am in the Magic Authentics team store. Behind me, we have a super cool new collection. This is the back to school special. And let's take a look at it, guys. What do we think about this? I think these are super, super cool. I'm loving it. We also have a lot of game day specials going on, a free mini backpack with every $150 purchase, and you could get a candle as well. So super, super cool, guys. What are we thinking of this new drop? Let me know in the chat. Honestly, I think this one is my favorite. This is the front, but I think the coolest thing is, of course, the back. It is stuff on the back, and I just think that's so cute and cool. I will definitely be getting this one for sure. My second favorite, I think, is this one. I would definitely wear this on a game day like tonight. I just think this is classic with some shorts and a cute little blue purse. That is a iconic fit. Let's see what you guys are saying. It's me 123. Oh, I love that. My name said, wow, great deal. Yes. Guys, if you're here, you got to come to the store because the in-store apparel is just, it's leveling up every time I get here, and it's insane. Like these pants, I've been wanting these forever, and I'm definitely going to get them because now they have my size. So just look how fresh these are. Like, tell me that's not fire. With the little crew neck to match it over here is so cool. I definitely need this matching fit, even with the little hats. I'm obsessed. The drops recently have been so good. Let's see what you guys are saying about this drop on TikTok. Yes, the gray shirt. What about the hats? Guys, look at the hats. These are awesome. Definitely loving the white. And just the font on these is beautiful. It is beautiful. Let's take a look around at these sweats too, because I think this is very fun with the colors and the different patchwork. But yeah, guys, it has been amazing in the team store. So I think with all that being said, I think we should head to the court and see what's going on with the boys. Let's see who's out there warming up and getting ready for this game tonight. But like I said, if you guys just joined, you can watch tonight's game on FanDuel, and the pregame is at 6:30. Also, guys, I know I talked about this before, but it's so insane to me. We got the like Labubu stuff here. Which one would you want? Let me know. I've been buying these like every time they're available, and I'm yet to get the unicorn stuff, but hey, we're gonna keep trying. We're gonna keep trying. I got Dino twice, but what would you guys want? Let me know in the comments. Let's see which ones you would want. Everybody is digging the hats. I love that. Someone would want the duck. Okay, I love that. I think the cow is super cute too. It's just so cute. Such a good idea, and to like hang it on your bag. Oh, it's so cute. The perfect accessory for game day. But yeah, if you just joined, we're heading to the court. I'm so excited. I just love the energy on the court. So let's see. Yes, tonight we are going against the Wizards. Hello, everybody. Welcome in. You need that. Yes. Dude, it's so cool, and I love how it's a surprise. You never know what you're getting. Yeah, let's head to the court. Let's find Josh Cohen, and let's ask him some questions about last night's game, today's game. Let's just ask all those answers. And if you guys have any questions you want me to ask Josh, let me know in the chat, and I will get them answered. You're so excited for tonight's game. Me too. I definitely think it's going to be a good one. It's going to be really, really good. My name says she wants the unicorn one. I do too. I'm going to keep trying for that one. I will. Let's check the YouTube comments, because I've been on TikTok for a while. Y'all are bringing the energy on TikTok. But let's check the YouTube now. Let's see what's going on. I'm almost to the court, guys. Will Dawson, hello. Hello. Duval said those are fresh. You know it. You know it. Hello, everybody. Let's go Magic. Yes, I am loving the vibes in this YouTube chat. Keep it up, guys. You're bringing all the energy, just like the Magic's going to bring all the energy tonight. Let's see who's out here warming up. I see some boys warming up. Everybody seems really excited for tonight. I love it. City jerseys again tonight? I believe so, because this is the city floor. So I think so. Tell Desmond Bain I said hi. Paulo 459. Okay. I love it. Yes, the floor is different, guys. It is. It is definitely different. Let's head out onto the court, actually. Excuse me. Thank you. All right, guys, I think it's time to talk with Josh. Hi, Josh. How's it going? Good. I'm very excited for tonight's game. Everybody in the chat is very excited as well, and we have some things to ask you, okay? All right, Josh. So the Magic are currently enjoying a 5-game win streak, which is insane. So what are some of the things that the team has been doing during this streak to get these turned into dubs?
Well, the biggest thing is defensively. They're number 3 in defensive rating since the All-Star break, and that's their bread and butter. That's what they should be. That's their identity. They're running opponents off the three-point line. When opponents are taking threes, they're contesting. Since the All-Star break, opponents have the worst three-point percentage against them. And also, they're basically taking them off the paint as well. A lot of mid-range shots by opponents. Actually, they rank number 1 in opponent mid-range shot attempts, which is, of course, a good thing.
Wow, okay. We also know that Paulo has been killing it ever since the All-Star break. So what do you think has changed about his game style?
I think the first and foremost thing is he's getting downhill more frequently, getting all the way to the basket. He's so good when he uses his blend of power and finesse to get inside and either draw fouls or finish with his craftiness. He's done that a lot since the All-Star break. Also, he's hitting more threes than he did before the break as far as per game, so that's helping as well. And then most important is that he's really picking it up defensively. He's been tasked with guarding the other team's top players a lot of times, and he's been pretty effective at it as well.
Okay. So we know that the team has the top defense over the past 10-plus games. So what has been the catalyst behind the uptick on that end of the floor?
Talking about the offense? The offense, yeah. So the biggest thing, number one, when they come up with steals or forced turnovers, they're getting out and running. I think that's always a big thing for this team because they like to play with pace. That makes them a little bit more efficient when they get out on the run. And then number two, they've been doing a really good job spraying out the shooters. Their efficiency from three has been a little bit hit or miss, but they've hit some clutch ones, as we saw last game against Cleveland. We saw the Bain one, and then before that, Tristan hit a pair of threes. So they've hit threes in timely fashion. But I think playing with pace has been the biggest thing, and also offensive rebounding. They're a very good crash-the-glass team. They're getting second-chance opportunities.
Okay. Speaking of Bain, I was talking with the chat about last night's game and how insane that was and how he helped seal, the game with that three. So as of late, he's been playing amazing. What do you think has changed with his game?
He's an incredible shot maker.
Yeah.
I think coming into the year, he was thought of as like a three-point sniper, someone who almost relies exclusively on the three ball. But his touch from anywhere on the floor has just been incredible throughout the year. I mean, he's actually set some records in terms of, what we've seen in recent NBA history as far as efficiency, especially in February. Over 50% from the field, over 40 from three, almost 90 from the free throw line. So he's been doing an incredible job finding his spots, getting to where he's comfortable. He's great getting downhill. And then three-point shot, as we expected, has really started to fall.
Okay. Let's see if we got any questions from the chat. Let's see what's going on in the chat real quick. Okay, I feel like this is a common question that they ask, but they love it. What is one player that you think is going to be the X factor of tonight's game?
Well, I wanted to say Tristan da Silva, but he ended up being probably the X factor last game. I just think with Washington's defense, the way that they like to play, they can be a little loose on the three-point line. Tristan has been one of the better three-point shooters for the Magic lately. But the other one I would say is Wendell Carter Jr., especially from a rebounding standpoint. Alex Sarr is going to crash the glass. Trae Young's going to get into the paint. I think it's key for him to be that good backline defense from a defensive standpoint and then also from a rebounding standpoint.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Josh. It's always a pleasure talking to you, and we'll see you next time.
See you guys.
All right, guys. Let's head to the Magic side of the court. Let's see who's out here. But what did we think about that? We always love talking with Josh. He is just amazing. Everyone is saying he looks so nice with his suit. Okay. Kevin C said, play the song. Yes, the song will be played tonight. You know it. You know it, guys. Let's see. David said, tell Josh I said hi. The Percy Disco Shop said, go Magic. You have the energy. Haley said she loves my hoodie. Thank you, guys. You got to rep that Orlando Magic merch. If you missed it and you're here tonight, guys, go check out that team shop because they have the new drop and it is fire. Great interview, Marley. Thank you. Let's check the YouTube. Let's see what's going on. Hello, Duval, bringing the energy in the chat. Bucks fan all day said, let's go Magic. Joanne says he got his Magic hat on already. Okay, y'all are fire. I absolutely love it. Tristan for the win tonight. Yeah, you guys heard Josh. Okay. Go Magic. Someone go live when the 407 dances so we can see you guys. I love that. That's a good idea. That is a really good idea. We are performing tonight, so stay tuned if you're here for the game. If you're going to be here, let me know. But I think I am going to go, guys. It was such a pleasure talking to you. The next game we have is Saturday against Miami, so stay tuned for that one. It's going to be Saturday. So stay tuned for that one. It's going to be really, really good. But guys, make sure you stay right here. We have a lot more coverage coming up. And of course, Kendra will be taking over. So obviously stay tuned for that. She's amazing. and get ready for some Magic basketball tonight. My name is Marley Arnold, and it was such a pleasure hanging out with you guys. I will see you next time.
Colombia, Africa, Caribbean, honeydew. Whipping out Abels, no condiments. From Barranquilla, no argument. She going hard like a gallo. Don't care what they say, hella fine, no. I'm chilling with babe with my eyes closed. Got the champagne with my blindfolds. I'm on a flight in Miami, shopping and tripping with Moochie the family. Dry top when I dry down, like the hella savage like I'm Randy. I'm on 1,000, living my life like I don't get no hoots about plan B's. My life something like a Tahoe, yours something like a Camry, yeah. Give the people what they want, cause I got it. I ain't lying.
What's up, guys, and welcome to Courtside Countdown presented by Hard Rock Bet. Kendra Douglas alongside Savage Says, and we're going to get you ready for tonight's game here at the Kia Center. The Magic taking on the Washington Wizards. And I mean, this is a team where, you know, they're struggling a little bit. This Magic team, 5-game win streak now. So it's an opportunity for them to continue to take advantage of this. What did you say, Dan?
Yeah, two teams on opposite ends of the spectrum. The Magic, as you said, they're on a 5-game winning streak, their longest of the season. They've won 11 of their last 15. The Wizards, on the other hand, have dropped 9 straight, struggling to find a win. But one thing you could be sure of is after kind of getting embarrassed against the Miami Heat, after what Bam Adebayo did, they're going to be hungry to take that out on somebody. And unfortunately for us, that's going to be us tonight. So the Magic are going to have to be prepared for a hungry Wizards team. This isn't going to be a team who's necessarily reflective of their record. They're going to be one that's hungry to get a win tonight.
They sure are. Today's game you can catch on FanDuel Sports Network, your home for the Orlando Magic. The pregame show will begin at 6:30 with tip-off tonight at 7. You can catch Dante and the crew. Don't forget to give us your comments. Don't forget to comment on tonight's game. What are you hoping to see from the Magic tonight against the Washington Wizards? Who do you want to see have a good game? I think this is going to be an opportunity. If the Magic can get what they can get done, you're going to see the bench clear out, and I'm excited to see who can have an opportunity for that. So,
I don't think Jamal Mosley is going to do what Eric Spoelstra did and just have his guys foul at the end of the game to create extra possessions.
No.
So guys could stat pad their numbers.
Yeah.
I think instead that he would love to have an opportunity to go deep in the bench, give the young guys some time, and rest guys after a hard-fought game against the Cavaliers last night and cut down on some of those minutes on a back-to-back.
Yeah, definitely. So some of your comments, Jay Curve says it's about that time for Kick It Courtside with Kendra.
I like
and to
it.
hear what Savage says. Someone noticed that Desmond Bane was out here getting the reps early. Desmond Bane is warming up behind us. Someone said, so confident. We are overconfident. Definitely a trap game. I do think this is kind of a trap game situation. We'll dive a little bit deeper into why Washington can be a good team later on in the show. Someone said, waiting to see JT stop by before he goes to get some food. We'll see. We'll see if
We'll
Turner's
see if it's
turn.
before or after. That's always the question. Are we going to get JT before he gets something to eat?
Yep.
Or is Turner's turn going to come as he's going back to do his stand-up over to the side of us right after dinner?
Yes, exactly. That would be a good one. Some more comments that you guys, I love what you guys are saying about just Tristan da Silva, how he's balling out right now. Everyone's really been liking the way that Tristan's been playing. Continue to keep those comments coming because we're definitely going to talk about Tristan da Silva. But let's talk about last night's game. Let's talk about the Cavs. This was going to be a big one. And here's what I loved about the situation was you did get the mindset of that playoff mindset, and you knew you were going to get the playoff mindset taking on a Cavs team last night. Just what were the Magic able to do from start to finish against this Cavaliers team that you liked?
You know, one of the things that really impressed me is I thought each team was going blow for blow with one another down the stretch there. They were taking big shots from Donovan Mitchell and James Harden down the stretch, and the Magic were answering right back, whether it was big shots from Tristan da Silva, whether it was attacking the rack with Paolo Banchero, or Desmond Bane hitting corner three-pointers right behind us over here.
Yeah.
So I just like that they were playing a high-end team in the Eastern Conference, a high-end playoff team, and still, by the same token, we're able to go blow for blow with them and prevail with the other team playing well. So that just tells me the Magic have elevated themselves to a different tier during the course of this win streak, earning victories over Minnesota, over Cleveland. Those are the type of playoff caliber teams you're going to have to beat in the postseason. And the Magic are showing right now that they're fully capable of doing it, even with the other team playing at their best.
Yeah, they sure are. Getting off to a good start, winning this one 128-122. All 5 Magic starters scored in double figures. The Magic shot 52% from the floor. One thing I liked about what they did in the last game against Milwaukee and this one, dished out 29 assists and only had 6 turnovers. When you dish out 29 assists and you see right there the numbers from that game, when you see what they were able to do as a unit and be able to get everyone involved, what does it tell you about how they're progressing and really growing at this point in time of the season?
Yeah, I think that cutting down the turnover numbers is huge because when this team has low turnover numbers, they often, come out with the victory. And, Cleveland, on the other hand, was playing well with the basketball too. And both teams were trying to turn up the intensity, force mistakes, and yet high-level shot making was made on both sides. And so, look, it's hard to take the ball out of James Harden's hand, hard to take it out of Donovan Mitchell's hands.
Yeah.
And when they're both out there together, it creates problems. And the Magic down the stretch were able to withstand their runs, come up with big plays of their own. Really loved that win last night.
They sure were, and I love the comments that I'm getting. Bane is a machine. Another win for us, of course. This is from Jay Curve. I love that he said this. We know it'll be a quick as JT money is too expensive. I love that. I love that. JT's too expensive. We can't hire him around here. Loved how Paolo was getting to the basket with ease. We know he can do it on national television now. He showed the world. I love that too. Yes, the game was on ESPN. It was on all three of the markets. So literally everyone could see the way that Paolo Banchero helped handle this team. So let's talk about P5. I mean, I don't know what else to say about this kid. As soon as he came back from All-Star break, he just looked in the mirror like he said in that article, and he's just been taking it to the rack ever since and doing a good job of it.
Yeah, very aggressive going to the rim, just precise playmaking, creating for others. It was a nice play he created for Jet Howard.
Yeah.
Nice play that he created for Tristan De Silva over the course of the game. And him and Desmond Bane, when you look at both their numbers since the All-Star break, they're both averaging over 25 points per game while shooting over 50% from the field. So exclusive company for that duo right now.
Yeah, let's talk about Desmond Bane and what he's been able to do so far. He's out here too. So 35 points, including 11 points in the fourth quarter. And I think the shot that has gone viral that we've continued to see throughout is this one right here. That three-pointer that he hit and he nailed with 18.3 seconds left. Had a pair of free throws too in the 8 seconds to remain. This is what you want to see from Desmond Bane. He talks about how he's constantly in the gym, just working hard, working on his game. 35 points, 6 assists, 6 rebounds for him. I mean, when it comes to Desmond and how he's just been able to find himself with ease, do you think that it's more of like the guys are finding him, or do you think it's more of he's finding his spots himself and he's just figuring it out?
Yeah, I really think it's both right now. Desmond Bane, historically over the course of his career, has been a guy who's played better as season's going along. This season has fell in line with that. And then on top of that, I think he's the type of guy that came in, tried to fit in, find his spots, wasn't trying to force anything in the early part of the season, and then figured out how to find his groove. And then I think secondly, the team is realizing all the things he could do, where you could get him in the basketball to be successful. We talk about it all the time. Like, your perception of him is he was a guy who's a big, high-level three-point scorer and then could maybe, take it in the mid-range, finish around the rim. He's shown this season he could be elite finishing down the rim, shooting the mid-range with ease as well, on top of three-point shooting. And we see so many teams running him off the line, still effective regardless. And boy, how many big plays has he come up with down the stretch? I mean, big play Bane in a lot of ways for this Magic team. Seems like every time they need him in a clutch moment, he comes through.
It's funny. Someone just asked right now, is Bane in the running for clutch player of the year? If not,
he's in my running.
He's in your running. If not, why? Another person said Bane and Paolo the best 1-2 punch in the league. So I want to ask you, do you think that Desmond Bane should be in the conversations and the talks for being that clutch player of the year?
I mean, absolutely. He's shown up in clutch moments. We'll see if he gets that recognition. So often those awards go to guys who are 1, 2 in their conference. And so right now that's going to be the knock on Desmond Bane. But in my opinion, you'd rather have him in the clutch moments than a lot of guys throughout the league. So he's going to make his case. And the big thing for me is, can he do it, continue to do that the rest of the season, and then show up in the postseason? Because that's what's going to really matter most.
Yeah.
We know they're going to be in close games in the postseason. Can he hit the big shots that'll put this Magic team into a deep run into playoffs? That would say a lot to me.
Yeah, when we were on the road, we were talking about Paolo Banchero and Desmond Bane, and that duo after All-Star break, they were second highest scoring behind Jamal Murray and Jokic. So I'm curious. I'll admit, I didn't look up the numbers recently, but I'm still sure they're probably within that. So to know that duo continues to dominate in the league, it's just phenomenal to see. And let's talk about Paolo Banchero, because we were just mentioning how he's performed so far. And I mean, he's continuing to just step up for this team as well, taking on guys like James Harden, like Donovan Mitchell, finished with 25 points, 8 rebounds, 7 assists in this game. I mean, I love what Coach Mosley said of he's somebody that said, I want to challenge myself by guarding these amazing players, but he's also facilitating and getting everyone involved as well.
Yeah, you just love the bully ball we're seeing here. We saw the no-look pass to Wendell Carter Jr. for the corner 3.
Yeah.
Him just taking to the rack with force. When P5's at his best, that's what he's doing, just coming downhill and creating a nightmare for the opposition, because either you have to build a wall to cut him off and send 2 or 3 bodies, and then he's kicking out to beat you, and if you leave him single coverage, your guy's going to get bulldozed over, and he's going to finish at the rim. So 25 points again against the Cavs, 8 rebounds, 7 assists, seemingly always flirting with the triple-double right now. It's just his numbers have elevated in all regards, and the biggest thing for me, though, is his presence defensively. That's taken a huge leap.
It sure has.
Since the All-Star break especially. And we talked about it before the game. His job on Kawhi Leonard, etc., came again last night where he's guarding James Harden, doing an effective job. Love what I'm seeing out of P5 all over the court.
It's so funny, too. Paolo Banchero's warming up behind us as well. So you guys are getting an opportunity to see P5 in action, too, getting ready for tonight's game. Some of the comments that are coming in, I want to talk about this one because I think it's interesting. Well, first, Javon Carter has been a great voice in the locker room from what I see and how he talks to his teammates. He sure has. Yeah, you're saying right. Something that is interesting to me is someone said, I'm worried about this team's deep in the playoff. It feels like it's kind of uncharted territory. Who would be the voice in the locker room, the vet presence? Here's what I will say about uncharted territory. This is a team that is itching and clawing to get past that first round of the playoffs. So I don't think it's going to be uncharted territory for them. But I will say when it comes to the voice and the presence, you got guys like Desmond Bane. You got guys like Javon Carter, who I think they listen to. Desmond Bane, you know, he comes from Memphis, but he's come from Memphis where in the West, you're running pretty deep in there too as well. So who would you think would be that veteran presence and that voice?
Yeah, those two. And I would also go on to say, when you make these runs, this is where young guys can start to take the evolution as leaders. And I'm sure if you were to talk to Magic head coach Jamal Mosley, if you talk to Paolo, you talk to Franz, these are the opportunities where your voice starts to matter more and more. You become the experienced player. And so I think for this organization, it would be huge if Paolo, Franz become that voice for this team, in addition to guys like Dez and Javon, because their word carries so much weight. It just goes to show, you know, the Magic are number 1, 2, 3, depending on the day, in defense since the All-Star break. Why is that the case? Well, a huge reason is Paolo Banchero decided, I'm going to take on the tough challenge. When he does that, everybody around him goes, I better step up my defensive game too. So he carries a lot of weight, probably even more than he knows. And I'd love to see in the postseason him be that voice as well.
Yeah, I would like that too. I want to get back to something that I mentioned before. I said I wasn't sure if this was still a thing, and it is still a thing. So Paolo Banchero and Desmond Bane are your 2 top duos behind Jokic and Murray when it comes to coming after the All-Star and the highest point percentage duo that you have in the league so far. Duh.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's a given for these guys
too. Highest in the East.
Highest in the East, yes. So more comments from you guys. Someone called him Coach Carter. I love that. I love that you're calling Javon Carter Coach Carter. And then some more comments coming in talking about is it a coincidence the player's attitude changed once Javon Carter got here? He is a really big influence. Here's the thing. I think it's a mix of both. I think Javon Carter comes into this group and brings such a level of maturity and thinks he also brings a level of no nonsense, which we can repeat all the time, but because we see it. But I think it's also a chance for this team. They very much understand we want to do more. We want to do better. And it's going to take a level of sacrifice. And I think when you have a guy like Javon in the building, he's teaching you that sacrifice.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I think Javon has certainly helped in that regard. You know, the course of a season is long, 82 games, and tack on preseason, et cetera, as well. And so I think having a jolt of life, especially when it comes from veteran presence over the course of that season, certainly helps, because he's an extension of the coaches a lot of way. You know, when you have young guys, there's different perspectives that come into it. And often the coach is correct, and he's just an additional voice from a player perspective who's harping on all the things that coaches harp on. And so he's definitely a boost in that perspective. Then I think, secondly, the All-Star break was just such a huge reprieve. This team has dealt with injuries for the second year in a row.
Yes.
That can wear you down. And I think having that time to reset, recalibrate, and focus on the sprint that is the final post-All-Star break part of the campaign allowed this group to really get in the right mind space to close out the season strong.
Yeah, more comments coming in saying if we win today, there's a 6-game win streak. Yes, there will be. That's what you want to see with this group. So let's talk about the bench a little bit, or the guys who can come off the bench and start for these guys. I'm talking about Tristan da Silva. Since he's been here with the Magic, he's been someone who's just filled in. And I love what he said about that, too, of like, he doesn't really care how he comes in. He just wants to help this team out. So, again, against this Cleveland squad, netted a season high of 23 points. He started in 22 games so far for the Magic this season. He's scored in double figures in the last three out of his last 5 games, and he's averaged 13 points in his last 5 games. When you look at a guy like Tristan da Silva, how do you even describe him as a player? And because he is someone that can come off the bench and give you what you need and start and give you what you need.
Yeah, he's a versatile piece. And I think when you talk to any coaches, past or present, they're in love with Tristan da Silva because he does all the little things. He's willing to fill in any role, plug and play.
Yeah.
A versatile chess piece at 6'10". We saw in this clip of his highlights that not only is he being a spot-up shooter over this stretch, not only is he being a good relocation shooter, which we saw in the early part of the season, but he was also driving to the basket, shot fakes, going to the rim, and I think that's an additional element of his game. If he continues to play aggressive, that hits new heights for Tristan and makes this Magic team even more dynamic. It's no coincidence to me that they've had a 5-game winning streak while he's playing some of his best basketball.
He sure has. Continuing with the bench, too, let's talk about Jet Howard. I saw someone saying Jet blocking that driving layup and his reaction was priceless. Let's talk about how this kid, too, recently has seen more minutes, especially those last 2 games, averaging 11 points in his last 2, had 14 points in Milwaukee, and this is someone who's just consistently tried to work hard. Now, we know that, I think we all can say it, Jet Howard in his defense has grown. He's had to grow in that area. What have you liked about what you've seen from him as of late coming off the bench?
Yeah, well, the Jet's been cleared for takeoff. He's been getting minutes as of late, and he's made the most of them. I think each time we're seeing Jet out there, he's looking more and more comfortable, and he's hit some big shots for the Magic at big moments.
Yeah.
What I liked was, he saw a defender napping, cut to the basket, threw down a slam dunk. He's not just sitting around waiting for the basketball to come to him. He's creating opportunities for himself within the structure of Orlando's offense. And that, to me, shows a tremendous growth on the IQ side of the game for Jet Howard. He's starting to pick up the concepts, not only defensively, but also offensively as well, in finding ways to get himself involved. And I think that's the next step in his evolution as a young player.
I completely agree with you on that, and that's what you want to see from a young guy like that, especially someone who, in the beginning of the season, it was kind of hard to figure out how they were integrating him. But coming back from the All-Star break, he's been kind of the first one coming off the bench for this Magic squad and showing that he can continue to help this team out. I want to talk a little bit about the team that the Magic will be playing up against. And as we welcome you inside Courtside Countdown presented by Hard Rock Bet, don't forget that tonight's game will be on FanDuel Sports Network, your home for the Orlando Magic. Game tips off at 7 p.m. with the pregame show at 6:30 p.m. with Dante Marcatelli and the crew. So some of your comments that you guys are saying, some people love what God Shamgod has done for this group too. Shout out to God Shamgod, makes a difference. And although I'd love for him to stay here selfishly, I hope he gets the position. Are you talking about Providence position? You can go on his Instagram. You can go all over social media. Yes, the conversations are there about the next head coach for that program.
Yeah, you could go to Providence too.
Yeah.
Plug him. Let your voice be heard.
Yes. So Shamgod continuing to do such a good job with this group. And he's also a guy that has experience with Washington Wizards as well. So let's talk about the Wizards and what they're going to be able to do. Coach Mosley talked today in the pregame presser saying, look, you can't just sweat this team. They got beat when Bam had 83 points. But also, the Magic lost to them again this season as well. When you look at this matchup between the two teams, what do you notice about this squad?
Yeah, no, the Wizards play with a tremendous amount of pace. They're going to put up shots. And look, they're going to be a little bit different from the team Miami saw with Trae Young in the lineup. It's going to probably make his third appearance with the Wizards tonight. And they're a different team with him out there. He's a veteran presence who not only could get a shot for himself and create in that way, but could get shots for others. And so he adds a whole different level of a ball club for them. And we only have 2-game sample size with him in it.
Yeah.
So, there's not much of a scouting report to do it. You're going to have to go off Atlanta tape for what they're going to do with him. And he's just a guy who adds a whole level of dynamic, a whole new dynamic to the game. He's going to step back from a logo and hit a three. So for Jalen Suggs, for guys like Javon Carter, they're going to have to be into him the second he crosses the half-court line.
You just mentioned that the Magic haven't seen Trae Young in a Wizards jersey, but the New Orleans Pelicans did. That was the last time he played because he didn't do the Heat game as well. So you can see what he's been able to do. He's averaging 18.5 points so far this season and more than 8 assists, shooting 42.7% from the field this season. Now, what I thought was interesting was the one sample size, like you mentioned, against Orlando. That's all you can see. 16.7% shooting percentage from the three-point line from Trae against the Magic. He's had, last time he played them, 34 minutes, 25 points. So this is the guy that knows how to get to the rim, that he knows also how to handle himself. You see his stats right here. Also really good at facilitating and getting people involved.
Yeah, and look, Trae's a guy who's a little bit petty, remembers
Yes,
things.
he is.
Just ask Knicks fans about that.
Yes.
And I'm sure he doesn't forget that, going up against this Orlando team with the play-in on the line, the Magic beat him handily, and, he was kicked out of that game.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I'm sure he remembers that, what it was like being on this court. And so he's going to come out tonight and try to show the world why the Wizards traded for him, why he considers himself an all-NBA level player. Even if, there are teams throughout the league that don't view him in that way, why he deserves to be paid as such. So he's a guy with a lot to prove amongst a lot of young players with still a considerable amount of talent. Now they have a veteran player who can help show him the way.
This Magic squad's continuing to want to chip away, grab some wins, stack some wins. Let's take a look at our Eastern Conference standings, because right now the Magic,
it's tight.
I know, it is a tight one, as the Magic, they are now 5th within the standings, but it's still so close. Luckily, the one thing good for the Magic is they hold that tiebreaker over the Miami Heat, but you still got teams like the Atlanta Hawks. I wouldn't count them out. I wouldn't even count out the Charlotte Hornets. You don't know what's going to happen, especially since Philadelphia is going to be now losing one of their best players as well, too. This is an opportunity for the Magic to take advantage, but it's a close one.
No doubt about it. They're 3 games away right now from hosting a first-round playoff series.
Yeah.
And by the same token, they're 3.5 games away from being at the edge of the play-in.
Yeah.
So that's how tight this Eastern Conference race is. But what I liked is we talked about last night. They were sitting in that 7 spot. With a win, they could jump up to 5th. That's exactly what happened. Another win tonight, they could start to separate themselves from the pack a little bit more. So that's what they need to do. Take it one game at a time, stack wins, and the rest of it will take care of itself.
Yeah, it should be a good performance for this Magic squad to take advantage of these opportunities, take advantage of games like this. They're going to be going to Miami. We head to Miami tomorrow. So, take advantage of the opportunity, which that would be a really huge win. They'd win all the games against Miami this season, and that would sweep.
Feels like 100 of them.
It does. Gosh, it feels like we've played that team so many times.
And the usher right now is setting a pick, holding back Turner's turn.
I know.
But we could have that at any second. So I'm trying to get ready to segue to JT, and he's trying to get us to set up, but he's such a popular man. You could call him the mayor of the Kia Center with the type of attention that he draws.
As we welcome in a Turner's
One thing
turn.
you cannot do is you can't photobomb a baby picture right over there. So I had to wait. I'm sorry I kept y'all waiting.
You did. Welcome, JT. It's funny. We were talking about Turner's turn. People loved it. They talked about it. And then someone said, too, they were like, well, Turner's turn is going to come later because he's too expensive. We can't keep him. So I love that everyone
Glad
is
that you all
locked
are
in.
working for me. Thank you.
We've heard nicknames like the mayor of the Kia Center.
Oh,
Yes.
wow. Okay.
The people love you, JT. They love you.
They don't know me like you guys do, I guess.
I want to jump ahead to Friday only because you love a good rivalry between the Miami and Orlando.
Yes.
So, what are you looking forward to with the possibility of a sweep, a season sweep on the line?
Well, just the thought of that, there'll be a lot of woohoos and things like that on the broadcast, I would imagine. And I always like walking out of the arena and the looks on everybody's faces and stuff like that. That always does me good.
Love it.
Now, JT, for this Wizards team tonight, now you never had 83 points dropped on your head.
No.
But
Wouldn't happen when I played. Somebody would have gotten seriously hurt when I was playing. It didn't happen. Michael Jordan didn't get 80 points, and he could have.
But if you come off a game like that, what kind of intensity could we expect out of this Wizards team tonight? Because they have to take out that frustration team on someone, and they can't do it to Bam Adebayo because he's not here tonight.
I think that's a concern. I think how they respond. Now, it's going to be interesting because, Dan, as you know, they're so young, right? Like, now, what does Trae Young kind of stir something up maybe or something? But, I think that's going to be interesting to see how they respond as a group. I do think, when you've been a national story, obviously, that, you want to come out and show people that, you're legit, that you belong in the NBA and you can defend and do all those things. So they just, they're just in a situation where they're not trying to win. We all know that. And nobody seems to play more than 20 minutes. Even Alex Sarr, he dropped 28 in 20 minutes. But that's just the way they're doing things. So I don't know what they can do, to be honest.
Well, we'll leave it at that, and hopefully the Magic team will get a win. Our time is up with you because you're getting over the limit. I can't afford you. I got to talk to Do about that one. So.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What a turn.
What a turn. All right, let's get to your storylines because we are going to wrap up this show in quite a bit. Let's get them real quick.
First out, shout out to Maria, who our producer, who got these storylines up because I didn't send them over till right before tip-off here. But number one, keep it rolling.
Yeah.
Magic have this win streak going. The Kia Center was rocking the other night.
It was.
I want to feel that energy carry over tonight. We got a lot of groups out here tonight, so it's going to be an exciting building, a lot of young people, and hopefully that energy continues to build. Second, play at your own pace. The Wizards are frenetic. They get up and down the court. They chuck shots up. The Magic are at their best, as we talked about here all season, when they get stops and then get out and run. And if not, operate within their half-court offense. That's how they have to play. Can't get caught up in the rat race. And lastly, attack the paint. The Wizards are third worst team in giving up paint points this season.
Yeah.
They're the third worst team in allowing points off turnovers. All that means is there's going to be fast break opportunities for the Magic. They can get downhill. They can make this Wizards team pay.
I love it. And that'll do it for us on Courtside Countdown presented by Hard Rock Bet. Kendra Douglas Savage says, thank you guys so much for joining us. We will see you when we get back home, but the Magic will be on the road taking on Miami, and we'll be taking on the Washington Wizards tonight. You can catch that game on FanDuel Sports Network. Your home for the Orlando Magic. Have a good night, Magic fans.
Give the people what they want, cause I got it. I ain't lying. Locked in, I do it just for profit. I ain't lying.